At 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday the 25th of March 2020, Aotearoa stopped. A nation was still. But if you listened, you could hear papatuanuku, the Earth Mother, breathing. The wind over our maunga, our mountains. The waves on our moana, our oceans. And the songs of the children of Tane. Our lives, normally so loud and busy, became soft and distant. We learned what was truly important. Our whānau, our friends. And papatuanuku spoke to us. Look what happens when you take cars off the road. Look what happens when you close factories producing pointless plastic. Papatuanuku will clean the air. Papatuanuku will clean the water. Papatuanuku's message is simple. We are all connected. The people, the plants, the animals. Aotearoa is our waka, and we need to find ways to look after it. He waka e noa. Papatuanuku is guiding us. Are we ready to listen?
Are we ready to listen? Not just to the voice of the future like Manawa Nui, but to Papatuanuku herself. She sent us messages during COVID, and one of those messages has been resonating through this building for the past 2 days. Ka ore te whenua, ka ore te tangata. When the land is healthy, the people are healthy. No, we aren't. It's really interesting as we've watched through COVID and talked about COVID, and everywhere you hear politicians talking about having to fight the pandemic of COVID. We aren't in a war with Papatuanuku. If we choose to go into a war with Papatuanuku, we will lose. You know, she is our mother. She is, as Mike said, she is caring for us. We are her children, but we have to listen. So she sent us some messages during COVID, and the first one of those was when we went into lockdown and we had to choose what was the only thing we bought food. That's what we did. And when we came out of lockdown, as we've come out of this side of the COVID pandemic, the other thing that has been really, really clear is that the companies and the people that have hit the road fast are people connected on that electronic highway to the world, companies involved in technology. So here is the message she sent to us as this waka, Aotearoa. Why don't we take the thing we do well with food and this other thing we do well with technology, bring them together and world lead in this space? So here's another message she sent. So the first person died of COVID, reportedly, in Wuhan on January the 11th, 2019. Here's another. So far, COVID has killed 3.3 million people. But here's something that we haven't been talking about. The number on the bottom right is the population growth this year. That's it going up this year. If we add it to the population growth in 2020, the year just gone during COVID, 81,330,000, put those two together, and since the first person died of COVID, the population on Mother Earth, papatuanuku, has increased by 110 million. That was a problem that was here before COVID. It was a problem all the way through COVID, and it will be a problem that is here after COVID. And so some of the debate, some of the discussion is, what do we do about that? How do we feed that? Since the first person died, that's the number that this population has increased. We've got to create a world, we have to create a new future that addresses that. And I think somebody said that, I don't know who she is, but it's kind of a line there. We need to create it. He waka eke noa. We need to create it together. We are all in this amazing waka, the most amazing waka, Mother Earth, Gaia, papatuanuku. We are all on board this incredible waka that sails through the universe and everybody and everything on it. As Manawa Nui said, papatuanuku taught us that we are all together, the plants, the animals, and us. We are all together.
It's about learning now what it takes to keep this waka, our planet, moving well.
We are all responsible for what we have, the entire world, and to keep it going on for the next generation. It's not like just a Māori or Pacific responsibility to protect, but it's whoever lives in it. We're all connected. It's just, where is that connection?
The voice of youth again. Where is that connection? Over 30 years ago, over more than 30 years, we've built a sports business that is global, covering golf, cricket, sailing, Formula One, a whole lot of other things. And 2020 was going to be the biggest year ever. We just signed all of the golf matches in the world. We just signed Major League Baseball, NFL. The America's Cup was about to start in Italy. We're about to roll out a whole lot of new cricket stuff. It was going to be incredible. And then we had Friday, March 13th, 2020. So I remember we were at the first major golf tournament of the year, the Players' Championship. We had just done the first day, Thursday, rolled out all of this amazing technology. Everybody was really ecstatic through the roof, so we went home and got out a few bottles of wine and were celebrating. When a text came through from one of the wives back here said, "So I guess this means you're coming home." What's she talking about? Well, we soon found out what she was talking about, because in the next 24 hours, we lost every sports contract in the world because of this thing called COVID. All of them gone. 90% of our income to zero. So what did we do? So the first thing we did was we set off back to New Zealand and we pulled all the staff together and said, right, you're all guaranteed your jobs till Christmas. So nobody worry about that. Your job description has now changed. You will all go home, live at home, and your priority is to take care of yourself and your whānau. If that takes 5 days a week, that's what we're going to pay you for. However, here's another cool thing that could be coming from this. Seeing we don't have any work, haven't got anything to do, why don't we do the things that we always wished we could do? Let's just get on with it and do those. So, one of the things that came up was our carbon footprint. Brings me back to papatuanuku. I've sped this up, but this is 2 months of my travel. This is my travel for 2 months, and I've been doing it for about 18 years. Our teams travel the world like this. Our carbon footprint was horrendous. And COVID stepped up. We never used the word challenge with COVID ever. We only used the word opportunity. So now, sitting in isolation, we sat back and went, she's sending us a signal. What happens if all the sport starts again and we can't get there because borders are closed? There's a first. So, one of the guys sitting at home in his father's farm designed a system, and I'm just going to share this with you. Here they go. So he called me up and said, take a look at this. That's my son, Ben, who is in isolation with me.
Okay.
He's talking to one of the other staff who's in full isolation across town.
Ball trajectory?
The person across town is running his computer as Ben talks to him using Zoom. And I remember ringing up John saying, so what does this prove, John? He says, well, it proves we won't ever have to leave Dunedin. I said, what do you mean? It's across town. Yeah, now we just have to make it work over 14,000 kilometres. And he did. On June the 6th, when the first game of golf started again in America, we did this.
Meanwhile, golf's PGA Tour officially kicked off this morning, watched closely by Dunedin's Animation Research, who for the first time produced the tour's graphics live from their office 12,000 kilometres away from the action. John McKenzie reports.
Back with a bang. The American PGA Tour teeing off in Texas this morning, 3 months after it was abandoned due to coronavirus.
Got a decent amount of help.
No fans though, but that wasn't the only difference when it came to the coverage.
Now globally connected. Now try to follow this. Using facilities across the world to bring you coverage. In Orlando, at the Golf Channel headquarters, are Sir Nick, Ian, and Frank. Socially distant, I might add. And in Stamford, Connecticut, mobile production trucks are connected to our facilities here in Fort Worth. Across the country in Burbank, another production studio is remotely supplying scoring graphics, top tracer cameras, and other technology. Across the world, in New Zealand, our virtual eye crew is with us live, supplying all the augmented reality technology you're accustomed to seeing on CBS Golf. It's not quite 8 in the morning Sunday in New Zealand right now.
A long way south of Texas, holed up in a Dunedin workshop, the crew doing the graphics live, something Ian Taylor's team at Animation Research had to create themselves, with international travel not an option.
Having the talkback panel here makes us feel like we're on site, so it feels like we're actually just sitting another truck on the TV compound.
Everything about the setup has a Kiwi touch. From the workshop only being put together yesterday to cardboard cutouts showing the time difference.
It's only 4 or 5 weeks ago we thought, gee, what if we can't get there? And in that time, this team has pulled this off.
First, the director calls for a graphic. Elliot here then clicks a few buttons. Next, it appears on screen for the golfing world to see. The first 2 days of coverage will be mostly sponsorship logos before CBS takes over the coverage where they'll introduce graphics like this.
He went after that one a little bit. You can see the ball speed up to 182. That's the fastest.
Just another way some Kiwi creativity flattened the curve in turbulent times.
So, what did papatuanuku teach us? Papatuanuku taught us that the technology was always there. This would have taken 5 to 6 years to achieve without COVID. It took 6 weeks. So we now have 2 of these studios, and at any given time, the other day we were doing golf from Saudi Arabia, cricket from Australia, and our carbon footprint for international travel at least has gone to 0. So that's a thank you to papatuanuku for COVID. And I heard the other day about this thing called digital twins. Any people here been talking about digital twins? Yeah. Well, I'd never heard of it. And I just realised as people talked about it that actually we've been making digital twins for 30 years. Digital twins, now I understand, is the graphical virtual version of real life. So here's a digital twin. It's the baseball stadium. It's a representation of the baseball thing, so that we can create and put real data over it. Take a look at this. This is, again, what COVID taught us. This happens quite quickly, but this is a digital twin. We do 3,000 games of baseball a year from Dunedin. 14 a day are sending data like this to us, to our digital twin, from the real twin over in America. So he's about to pitch. There's the pitch. There's the hit. There's the fielder picking up. There's the run out. Now, that stuff is coming to us in less than 100 milliseconds in Dunedin. So that's the kind of technology. And then, of course, we've taken the digital twins, disappeared the digital twin, and put everything over the top of the real twin. So in the America's Cup, here's all of that stuff happening over the real twin with the digital twin behind it. So what could that do for us? Well, this is Hyperfarm. And the only reason I'm talking about it is just to show that these are the possibilities. This is what we can do. So, it's such a big deal. You're trying to figure out, what if I did this? What if I did that? Well, the idea is you now have your farm, and just like we do it with golf courses, you go, what if I planted 3 rows of riparian grass along the side of the river? Now, tell me what impact that would have over 5 years. Oh, cleans the river up this much. Right, give me some of the stuff that I saw today that I didn't even know happened. But now there's data that says maybe you're using the land you've got for the wrong thing. So now you put it in your farm, you see Then you ask it, what should I be doing here? So now you're fully informed, changing your farm. We could probably tie it into zero and it'll tell you how much money you're going to make. So that's how New Zealand should be coming together. And the why. Well, for me, there is only one why, and this is him, our moko. What's that?
A pookie. Oh, yeah, a pookie go in the water. A pookie go in the water. A pookie go in the water.
Look at him.
Swimming.
So you can see him. See him there? So that's who we need to do this for. Our moko, our mokopuna. In the time I've been talking, the population of the planet has increased by more than 3,000 in the time I've been talking. That's the world Jackson and his moko and his other young people are travelling to. We have got to find a way to feed that world differently, to feed it sustainably, so that they have the pleasure of actually staying aboard this waka. And just to close, people have been talking too about how do we get this message over? Well, I've given up talking to old people. I've had quite a few years of that. And we just keep talking about the same things. And we don't seem to be actually making the difference at the speed we need to. So now I'm just going to talk to our young people. So we've built a platform. This is a platform called Mātauranga. It's free. It is free forever. It's a koha for every school in New Zealand and the Pacific Islands. It was originally designed to teach our Pacifica and Māori that this thing called STEM, this thing called Mātauranga, is in their DNA. It has, I'll just go quickly, but there's a whole thing, this whole chapter on Land of Voyages discovers that incredible voyage that needed science, technology, engineering and math that began 3,500 years ago while the Egyptians were building the pyramids. Our Polynesian ancestors set off across the Pacific Ocean to a land they knew were there. It was STEM with brass knobs on. And we also bring this whole idea together with technology and innovation. It's in your DNA. The next step is papatuanuku breathes. Papatuanuku breathes is the next chapter that will deal to the world of the future sustainability. So now it is a gift. It is free to everyone. It is a platform I now offer to you to say the stories you are telling, those stories, how can we bring those together and put them in front of our young tamariki in the place they spend the most time, schools. So I just have this complete confidence that if we do this and we do it right, we will change this place in one generation. I can still remember it was my kids coming home from school that actually made me wear a seatbelt. And again, the most important thing, ka ora te whenua, ka ora te tangata. A healthy land and healthy people. Ka po.